Hello, everyone. Welcome to Steve Rosenfield's stand-up comedy workshop show. Thank you so much for tuning in. What you're going to see tonight is a company of stand-up comedians who have trained together in a workshop conducted by the award-winning comedy director, founder of the American Comedy Institute, and author of the book Mastering Stand-Up, Steve Rosenfield. Some of the comedians who have trained in this workshop have gone on to perform on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Conan O'Brien, Saturday Night Live, Gotham Comedy Live, Comedy Central, and they perform in the best comedy clubs all over the United States and all over the world. And speaking of all over the United States and all over the world, right now our workshops are totally online. So we have students from all across the country performing with us tonight. And no matter where you live, all across the country or all over the world, you can also pursue your dream of doing stand-up comedy at the American Comedy Institute. More details on our workshops to come. Very excited about our lineup tonight. We have a lot of amazing comics, including some making their stand-up comedy debut. So very much looking forward to the show. And my name's Michaela Fagan. I'm going to be your host. And I'm just so relieved because I have narrowly escaped a very long stint in Florida. Terrifying place. Never go. It's awful. But I wasn't alone. I actually was with quite the dynamic duo. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been married for 26 beautiful years. They've seen all 8 seasons of Dexter thrice. And they still don't believe in global warming. It was Mike and Tina Fagan. Just the greatest parents, the greatest germ pod I could ask for. They live in a 55 and over community. So for a while there, I lived in a 55 and over community, and I fell asleep every night knowing I was the only fertile woman in at least a mile. And if this became a situation where we had to repopulate the earth, like there was going to be a line of old men knocking down my door. So I had to go. I had to get out. However, I already established the parameters of the competition that would have ensued had I stayed. First, you'd have to have an eligible driver's license to apply, like an active driver's license. Then it would be a jitterbug competition just to determine their flair and their endurance. Then a bocce ball tournament to the death. I would procreate with the lone victor. So thankfully for the older men in that community, I am back in New York. It probably wouldn't have worked anyway because, I mean, I'll admit, back in college, I was like a lesbian, and I still am because I'm not a quitter. I don't quit. Even when things get hard, I don't quit. I should have known I was gay, like, growing up. I really didn't realize it until I was like 18 or 19. But even like with Disney movies growing up, I never identified with the princess. I didn't want to be like the object of the prince's affections. I far more identified with like the chubby woodland creature in the C plot of the animated film. That character resonated with me. Like that, I really related to the feeling of like carrying a whole bunch of corn kernels underneath your chin as fast as you could back to your hole, and they keep popping out like a Pez dispenser until you're left with none. I felt that. Or all the other mice are like constructing a garment, they're sewing, they're tying a bow, and I'm like napping with a hunk of Swiss cheese as a pillow. That made sense to me. That made sense to me. Also, growing up, I really wanted to be a nun. I thought that was something I should do. I was like, hold on, you're telling me I could live with hundreds of women in a castle? Amazing. What? I know you're technically married to Jesus, but it's like he's always on a business trip. I've never seen the guy. I've never seen him. So, yeah. I'm actually really lucky. I'm not the only queer person in my family. I have wonderful Aunt Loretta and her wife. They've been a mainstay in my life for a long time, and they give wonderful advice, but it just feels like a little outdated. Like I'll come to them with a question like, hey, how long should I wait before I message this girl on TikTok? They're like, okay, here's what you're going to do. Step number 1, marry a man. Wait 10 to 12 years. 10 to 12. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand my question. They're like, no. It's all part of the process, okay? This is just the first step. Then at your weekly all-girls poker game, kiss your friend Debbie passionately but clumsily on the side of the face. Wait 10 to 12 more years. It never happened. Never, okay? Never speak of it. Then at your goddaughter's communion, Debbie's invited. She's like family. Go on up to Debbie, kiss her full on the mouth, tell her you love her, you die for her, live happily ever after, in secrecy. Tell no one. Does that help? I'm like, no, but thank you. The intention was there. That was good. I've been watching so much like daytime television during the pandemic, and one of my favorite shows has become Toddlers and Tiaras. So fun. I wish that my parents had put me in childhood beauty contests because I really feel like my introduction to the stage alone would have won me a title. Like the lady would have to introduce me like, and now, coming to the stage, we have little Miss Michaela Fagan. She has brown hair, brown eyes, and a golden heart. Her two favorite things to do are rip worms in half and eat Kraft singles straight from their individual plastic packaging. Her record is 23 in a row. Wow, Michaela! That's a lot of cheese. She loves her parents, her cats, and maybe Jesus, but she's skeptical. Her favorite smells are gasoline and pork. And when she grows up, she'd like to be a Radio City Rocket. Good luck with that. Or rich. This is little Miss Michaela. I think I could have won something. Thank you all so much. My name's Michaela. I'll be with you throughout the night. But without further ado, very excited to bring your first comic to the screen, all the way from New York City. Give it up for Peter Koo.
Thank you very much, Michaela. Hello, everyone. I have a long history of never being able to get any second dates. See, I take women out to dinner for a first date and never hear from them again. The next time that happens, I'm just gonna ask, is it me you don't like or Burger King? Last March, I bought a box of 300 face masks. So I was sure that was gonna last me through the pandemic. But I just finished the box, which is really depressing. What's even more depressing is the unopened box of 3 condoms I've had for 10 years. My 12-year-old niece has a really hot dance instructor. So I asked her if she could introduce us. She said, "I'm sorry, Uncle Peter, I can't do that." I said, "That's okay, I understand. I know you'd be embarrassed." She said, "No, Uncle Peter, it's just that I know she's looking for someone mature and emotionally stable." My niece is at an age when she's starting to get obsessed with clothes. So I said to her, "Clothes don't make the kid makes the clothes, especially in China." When I was a kid, I went to Catholic school in Los Angeles. And I remember the priest during services would say that our church was God's house. And I had questions like, if God's virtuous, why is he living in Los Angeles? Also, I'd see images of Jesus on the stained glass windows, with his long flowing hair and his loose robes and his sandals. And I'd wonder, isn't that the guy who lives in his van at Malibu Beach? My dad was a connoisseur of art, and he bought some nice paintings during his life. But he once told me, "You don't ever own art. You're just a temporary holder of it for a fleeting moment in time." And now I totally understand what he meant, because that's exactly how I feel after eating chimichangas. I had an ex-girlfriend who once told me that she was taking an antidepressant. She described its side effects: dry mouth, fatigue, and trouble sleeping. Apparently, only with me. I dated a Jewish girl once, but that didn't work out either. She was looking for a man with a developing career and a circumcised penis. And I have more of a developing penis, and a circumcised career. Whenever I see George Clooney's wife's name, Amal, in magazines, I see the word anal. Anal Clooney. And I think, Jesus, George Clooney gets everything. I looked it up. Amal in Arabic actually means hope, which is interesting because anal to me also means hope. My dad passed away a couple years ago, and before he died, he called me. He said, "Son, be a good person, always." I remember exactly what I was doing when he said that. I was watching porn. So now, whenever I watch porn, I think of Dad's last words to me. And I think of them often because I watch so much porn. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Michaela.
Peter Koo! Great job, Peter. Your next comic coming to the screen is one of my personal favorites. She's so funny, all the way from New York City. Please give it up for Beth Farber. Unmute yourself, Beth.
Okay, good evening. The other day I ran into an old friend and he said to me, "Do you remember Jim?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, he's really gone to the dogs." And I thought, well, I hope Jim has taken Muffin to the Royal Canine Spa and they're getting the special owner pet facial and massage. People say it's a dog eat dog world. My dog only eats food from a company called The Farmer's Daughter. Free range beef, wild boar, and farm raised mackerel. My dog eat another dog? I don't think so. The other day I was complaining to my shrink that my daughter does not take my advice about how she should live her life. And he said to me, "You know, there are mothers who are too involved in their children's lives and too critical and judgmental. Do you want to be one of those mothers?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I do. I want to be one of those mothers." And then the shrink said to me, "You know, the stereotype of a Jewish mother is that she's domineering and controlling." And I said, "Do you see that as a negative? Though that stereotype is my mission statement, and I plan to accomplish it, God damn it. I refuse to be the first Jewish mother in 2,000 years who can't say things like, 'Take off that dress. It makes you look flat-chested.' 'Who cut your hair? Kim Jong-il?' I want grandchildren, God damn it. Get to work." "Oh, you're calling me. What a surprise. How much money do you need this time?" Then the shrink said to me, "You know, what you want for your children matters, but what's really important is if they're happy with their lives." I said, "Oh, okay, I understand." So if right after my son graduates from medical school, he calls me and he tells me he's moving to Alabama to live in a trailer park with his born-again Christian girlfriend who has 8 children. He wants a simpler life, so he's taken a job bagging groceries at Piggly Wiggly, and he's leaving what's left of his bar mitzvah money, or he's giving what's left of his bar mitzvah money to an organization called a new organization called Jews for Allah. And then I'll say to him, sweetie, I am so happy for you if that's what you want. But before you move to Alabama, can you do this one thing? Buy a gun and then shoot me with it. I wish my parents had been more involved in my life. Then my first day of kindergarten wouldn't have been as confusing. I got there and everybody was singing Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques. My parents never sang me that song. My parents never sang me any song. All I could think of was, couldn't they find an English-speaking kindergarten? So finally I said to the teacher, what is Frère Jacques? And she said, no, it's not a what, it's a who. Frère Jacques is a French monk, Brother John. And I thought, well, is he here? How come everyone seems to know him but me? And am I the only Jew here? Because we don't sing to monks. The next song they sang was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I grew up in Brooklyn. Nobody sang to stars in Brooklyn. Nobody saw stars in Brooklyn. The only thing that twinkled in Brooklyn was the blinking light on the top of a cop car. Old MacDonald had a farm. Who cares? And what's with all the singing? Who cares? And if he'd had a color TV back then, that would have been something to sing about. And what's with all the singing to the farm animals? A moo moo here and a quack quack there. Who gives a shit? I don't know from these farm animals. Why don't they sing about an animal I know something about, like a gefilte fish? And who the fuck is Mother Goose anyway? Again with the farm animals. Now, I didn't care much about Old MacDonald, but one thing I learned in kindergarten was to stay away from the farmer's wife. There were these 3 mice, and they were blind. I mean, what could be more harmless than a blind mouse? But that farmer's wife, she cut off their tails with a carving knife. What a bitch. So the truth is, I really hated kindergarten, and they served us pineapple juice every day for snack. And even today, when I smell pineapple juice, I get nauseated, and I think to myself, but I comfort myself by thinking, I've done okay in life. But Frère Jacques, turned out he was a pedophile. And Old MacDonald, he lost that farm, and now he's addicted to opioids. And the farmer's wife, that sadistic bitch, she was outed by PETA, and now she's hiding in a trailer park in Alabama, shacking up with that pervert, Frère Jacques. Thank you very much.
So I'm back in college over Zoom at full price. Frankly, I think they should be charging me extra. It's the most fun I've ever had in college. I love the new rules the professors have made to make sure we stay involved. One professor grades us based on how many questions we ask in class. I like to ask, could you repeat that? And what do you mean by a 10-page paper? And when you say we'll get us our grades by Friday, is that in the morning or the afternoon? I have another class, American Dreams, American Lives, in which we're graded on class participation. In one class, my professor opened class participation by asking if people could comment on early American colonization efforts from an intersectional deconstructionalist angle. One student raised his hand to say, yeah, I just want to comment on how racialization has been a tool to allot Native Americans into a convenient part of our historical narrative and reify tropes. I didn't know what people were saying. I didn't know what was happening. But I knew that I had to say something in order to get a good grade. So I rose my hand and I said, yeah, I think on top of racializationism and allotmentistic oppressionism, we need to consider bipartisan binary sexism. And the professor said, Isa, I'm not so sure I follow you. Do you think you could clarify? And I said, and the professor said, Isa, please unmute yourself. And I said, the homework for the class is a bit harder. My first assignment, I had to write a paper about a song that represented the American dream. I chose God Bless America. I wrote that the melody was derivative, the chorus was cheesy, and the chord progression was sadly predictable. I got a D on the assignment. The professor wrote that I didn't have to just analyze the song, but I had to write about how I felt emotionally about the message of the song. The issue is I can't do that because I don't give a shit. So for my next assignment, I wrote how an emotional, sensitive person would. I wrote that the way Disney's Pocahontas movie does not engage in any intersectional discourse regarding colonization, gender roles, and bipartisan binary sexism makes me angry. How dare they? I hate white men and their bullshit privilege. I was at a dog park, and a woman there walked to the exit of the dog park, turned around, and shouted, "Hey, Bruno, time to go. Hey, buddy." And Bruno just stood there. And then she shouted, "Hey, Bruno, hey, buddy, time to go." And Bruno didn't move. And then she shouted, "All right, Bruno, I'm leaving." And she left the dog park, walked to her car, and got in. About 30 seconds later, she came back into the dog park and shouted, "All right, Bruno. All right, buddy. Time to go." About 30 minutes later, someone got Bruno on the leash for her, and she left the dog park. About 30 seconds later, I heard her shout, "Hey, Bruno. Hey, buddy, jump into the car, Bruno." Bruno didn't move. And she shouted, "Bruno, buddy, let's jump into the car, buddy." And finally, Bruno got up and he walked back to the dog park. When I was young, my father pulled me aside and told me, "There's something special about you, Isa. Something unique. You need to stop it." Earlier this year, I confided in my dad that I was having a lot of trouble getting dates. And he said, "Duh." People ask me, "Hey, Isa, we know you can't get a date, but do you have any friends?" And I say, "Thanks a lot, Mom." I actually do have friends. I called one up one time and asked her for advice on how to get a date. And she said I needed something to talk to girls about, something we could relate over. So she asked me what my favorite movies were. And I said, well, my favorite movie is Predator. But then there's Predator 2, Alien, Alien versus Predator, Alien versus Predator 2, Mamma Mia. And she cut me off. And she said, Isa, actually, I think it'd be better to talk about your favorite songs. And I said, well, my favorite song is the 2008 to present Jeopardy theme song. And my second favorite song is the 2001 to 2008 Jeopardy theme song. Because without that song, you don't have full context for the 2008 to present Jeopardy theme song. So she said, Isa, I have some professional advice for you. Become a priest. You're already celibate. You might as well get paid for it. You have been an above average audience. Thank you.
Isa O'Neill, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm sure the next movie on the list was going to be Mamma Mia too, right? Because it was art. Absolute art. Your next comic coming to the screen is a finalist in the U.S. comedy competition all the way from Thousand Oaks, California. Give it up for the very funny Michelle Malzaki.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, I love reading. I love reading so much. I miss going to restaurants to read menus. I love going to restaurants and find a menu that's like fat and thick, like the ones from Cheesecake Factory. My saddest moment is when the waitress comes back and take my menu away. Like, I'm not done with that. Urgh. I have to fight to keep my menu. Then only to find out there's a list of soft drinks to read. That's my saddest moment. I know some people assume that I am a Buddhist. There's nothing Zen about me. I believe in commercialism. I'm very interested in bringing as much as money possible in the world. I'm a Christian. My husband's side of family, when they go to church, they don't sing. They move their mouths, but no sound comes out of their mouth. Who do they think they are fooling? God knows everything. He knows they are lip syncing if he sees it. My dad loves to sing at the church. He doesn't sing melody, he sings harmony. He loves to sing so much. He wanted to join church choir, but the choir master told him he's not singing harmony. He's tone deaf. I've been married for 20 years. In Los Angeles, that means I'm eligible for parole. But I'm not sure I'm ready for society yet. I've been in for 20 years. I'm just gonna stick around for 5 more years. With my good behavior, I'll qualify for full retirement. I have a confession to make. I'm a registered Republican. Oh, don't hate me. It wasn't my fault. Hear me out. Okay, this is what happened. One year, I got an expensive speeding ticket. So I went to the court to fight my ticket. And Ronald Reagan died the night before. So the police officer who gave me the ticket had to go guard the Reagan Library nearby. When he didn't show up, the judge told me, your ticket is dismissed. Ronald Reagan died for me to get me off the hook. Have you ever had anybody die for you? Ronald Reagan is the only one for me. I was so grateful. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, Mr. Reagan, for dying for me. I'll be a registered Republican. And I am. I'm a pro-abortion, anti-gun, Kamala Harris Republican. People tell me, you can change party, Michelle. You can convert. Convert. There's nothing wrong with me. You say you are woke as you accept LGBTQIA, then you should accept me, AARP, Asian American Republican person. If you don't like me for who I am, you must be disoriented. I bought a fridge, a Samsung, a Korean fridge. It's a smart fridge and it speaks 19 different languages, but it doesn't speak Japanese. It speaks Slovenian. Slovenia has 2.3 million people. Japan, 127 million. I know this because the fridge told me. I bought a racist fridge. It scans everything inside and knows what's in it. I started buying things just to impress my fridge. This morning, fridge asked me if I consume all of the yogurt. It's accusing me of stealing my own food. It also told me if I don't eat kale by 10 p.m. tonight, it will expire. That racist fridge is threatening me. When I go out of the house, the fridge tracks me down. The other day, I was at the grocery store. It texted me, buy hummus. I'm allergic to hummus. That Korean fridge is trying to kill me. In old days, people used to own appliances. When fridge made noise, we just gave him karate chop. But now I have to beg my fridge, will you please stop sending pictures of meal that I could make with stuff in the fridge to my kids. They were happy with hamburger helpers before. But now they're asking me to make penne alla bolognese. On my Instagram account, I got some comments that I couldn't understand. So I asked my fridge. Sure enough, it was in Slovenian. Toristo matesto medepov. 300 hairy bears. Is that an insult? Or an endorsement deal? Well, thank you so much. I'm Michelle Malzaki. Thank you.
Michelle Malzaki. And Michelle Malzaki's fridge. What amazing things it's capable of. I'm scared if you turn the camera to one side, it's going to be like right there. How to get you. You got to get rid of that. Whew. Without further ado, bringing your next comic to the screen. She is so funny. Please give it up all the way from Topeka, Kansas. It is Jay Patterson.
Oh, hi everybody. Hey, I was a Girl Scout and I loved Girl Scout badges. I wanted all of them. But the problem was they didn't make badges for the things I was good at. Making out, underage drinking, stealing my dad's cigarettes, and most importantly, forging my mom's signature on the badge requirements. I tell you, when I got good at that, I had a sash full of badges. I remember showing it to my dad one day, and he said, I don't know that I've seen badges put on with safety pins before. Oh, I don't sew. He said, well, let me see here. There's there's 6 badges for sewing. And I see that you have some you did snow skiing and mountain climbing. Where do you go to do that in Kansas? If there is a Girl Scout hell, I'm there. My husband and I used to winter in a retirement place in Texas. It was one of those places where you see photos of people my age golfing and dancing and walking the beach. But there are no pictures of seniors doing what we like to do best, getting stoned. Me and my girlfriends, we love that. We'll get all set up. We have our drinks and our munchies and our edible Tootsie Rolls. One time we were waiting for the Tootsie Rolls to kick in. And my friend Susan goes, and we were so stoned, we thought she was kidding, and we were just laughing until she passed out. Oh, Jay, call 911, call 911. I'm going, okay. I'm so sorry. I couldn't find the keypad to dial 911, and I'm just randomly going all over my phone, and I went, oh, there's my grandson, Kyler. Hey, Jay, call 911. She's dying here. All right, I did. All right. So I did, and I realized it's like, I bought this stuff. I could be going to jail. It might be okay. I do need to lose some weight. Well, by the time the paramedics get there, she was fine, and they leave. So Susan says, you should be glad I didn't throw you under the bus. What are you talking about? I didn't tell them that you were my dealer. I'm reading the Bible cover to cover for the first time. My husband thinks I'm demanding. He should read about God. Poor Moses. He's lost in the desert, and God has given him the most difficult, demanding instructions to build a tabernacle for the 10 Commandments. So listen to this. You will make a lampstand, pure hammered gold. You're going to make the entire lampstand and its decorations in one piece. The base, the center stem, and lamp cups, buds, and petals. Make it with 6 branches going out of the center and then 3 on each side. The guy was a shepherd. Was Moses thinking, make the lampstand out of hammered gold? We don't have water. And what is a lampstand? I don't think we need to go find the promised land. I think we need to go find a Home Depot. God bless you. This was fun. Thank you. Thank you.
Jay Patterson. Jay, who said Home Depot isn't the promised land? Okay. Have you ever met a lesbian? That's the promised land. Beautiful place. So excited to bring your final comedian to the stage. He's wonderful. You're going to love him all the way from Queens, New York City. Please give it up for Pedro Martinez.
Thank you, Michaela. What up, my peoples? What up? So, I started finding myself binge watching an old favorite show of mine, Saved by the Bell. And I gotta tell you, me and Zach, I see a lot of myself in him. You know, we both got the gift of gab. We talked our way throughout a lot of problem situations. We skated by high school. Both good looking. We both have six packs. Well, he has a six pack. I have a keg. But I see a lot of myself in Zach Morris. But the women, the line of women me and Zach got, I'm telling you, you saw Zach Morris get the cheerleader, the smart one, the fashionista, the tomboy, the boss's daughter, twins, the fat girl, the girl in the wheelchair, right? Even the single mom. And for me, the women I got rejected by the cheerleader, the smart one, the fashionista, the tomboy, the twins, the fat one, the one in the wheelchair, even the boss's daughter. But me and Zach Morris were like that. I see a lot of myself in Zach Morris. I tell you, I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's good to see things are opening up, slowly but surely. I'm happy. And I gotta tell you, there was one event I really missed during this whole pandemic, and it wasn't going to concerts or movies. It was going to funerals. I miss going to funerals. You can't spell funerals without fun. And fun to me is the drama that comes to a funeral. I love it. We all crave for that. Us Latinos, we crave for that. And I gotta say, have you ever been to a Latino funeral? It has comedy, tragedy, horror, all the entertainment you need, we got it. And before I continue, I gotta tell you, it sounds messed up, but it's not immediate family. No. I'm talking about close enough to get excused from work, which is good because I got some sick days that I want to use. So let me break it down for you guys. The drama starts with the announcement of the funeral. So-and-so died. Oh, word? And then after that, it's not the when or the where the funeral is taking place. It's the who, as in who is going to the funeral. Like you're debating on whether or not you're going to the funeral. So now you're waiting for that trigger name. There's a name that you don't want to hear. And if they mention it, all hell breaks loose. So the person is going down. Oh, so we got Juan, Jose, Pita, Macho, Maria. And there it is, the trigger name, Maria. And then here we go. Oh, if Maria is going, I'm not going. Plain and simple. Latino funerals is the only place where you still have people talking shit even after the person died. And I tell you, once you get to the funeral, right, you have the same uncles and cousins wearing the same exact suit that you've seen them wear at the past 5 funerals, right? You have the old ladies, 2 old ladies, usually they're sisters. They come in, they always got to do the color commentary, especially when the women come. Now, when the women show up, I don't know if they're going to the club or they're coming to pay their respects because they wear these tight dresses, these 6-inch heels. And then, of course, you have the 2 other ladies going, mira, looking like a little slut coming to the funeral. And I tell you, right, after all that, you do the hugs, the kisses, all long time no see, all the long lost relatives. And then we go hit the whole, we should catch up. Let's do this. Let's meet up. And all the dinners and lunches. And I got to tell you, you know how many promises I would have kept? I would have been fatter than what I am now. I'm telling you. And this is all true. It's all true. And I get invited to a lot of these. And it's good because I have a lot of sick days that I want to use and not go to work. I'd rather go to a funeral than go to work. So I'm just, because, us Latinos, we have a big family. Look, to all my cousins, uncles, aunts, tias, look, if somebody dies, just give me a call. I'll be there. I got you. And the reason why I'm saying all this is because, like I said, I'm always invited. I'm always there. And put it this way, if the funerals are like the Super Bowl, then I'm like Tom Brady. So, oh, would you excuse me? I have to get ready for my cousin's wife's aunt's funeral. Sorry, thank you.
Pedro Martinez. Pedro, so glad you get to go to a funeral. Sounds like a great time. Sounds like a great time. Thank you all so much for watching the show. Thanks to all the comics who performed, and awesome job to our debuts. Again, if you want to join our workshop, we have one every month online. Our next one starts on March 9th. You can visit comedyinstitute.com to learn more. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Please stay safe and please have a wonderful rest of your